Hello and welcome everybody to Gameflix and Chill. I am Nick. This is Dante. This is your podcast where we talk about pretty much anything gaming, movies, music, anything that we want to talk about it. We'll talk about it here on Gameflix and Chill. This week we're going to talk about some Elden Ring DLC, um, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection just released. Reviews are overwhelmingly negative on Steam. Um, Modern Warfare 3 Season 2 discussion. Now that we're kind of in Season 2.5 towards the end of the season, we're going to talk about that. And Helldivers blew up. I kind of wanted to talk about it on the last podcast, but we kind of had something scheduled, and then all of a sudden Helldivers came, and I was like, well, we'll just talk about it on the next one. So this is Gameflix and Chill. Well, that Elden Ring DLC. I don't know. Did you play any Elden Ring?
I have never played it, but I have watched a few people play it.
I never played it. I've watched Donkey play it, and honestly, it
Well, that's not a good
right.
representation.
Donkey's pretty much ass at every video game. Although last night on Call of Duty, he had a couple nice shots.
Yeah, he really hit that fire extinguisher.
Dude, that fight, he he lit up a whole wall, and the guy was like 10 feet away from him, and was just like boom and killed Donkey because he just blind fired a whole wall. Not he had no clue. He was in the hot seat.
True,
He doesn't do well under pressure.
I can tell.
Um, but he played a little bit of Elden Ring. It was just something that I don't know. Any of the Souls games I never really got into. Probably the closest thing I got to was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And I wouldn't. I'd say that's like a Souls like, but very much more forgiving.
Gotcha.
Um, so I never really played any Elden Ring, but I just wanted to talk about it because it had been something that was kind of rumored, never confirmed, and then one day it was like I think it was at the Game Awards or something like that. They released a trailer for the DLC for Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called, but
something of the Erd tree.
Erd Tree or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it seems to have kind of reignited people's passion for the game, and more than just talking about Elden Ring, I kind of wanted to like spark up this discussion, like why all single player games aren't taking advantage of putting like expanded DLC drops, you know, 1 year, 6 months to a year and a half after the game releases. Extend the story. Show us some of the characters. I mean, I have my theory on it, but you have games like Elden Ring doing it. God of War released that roguelike mode.
yeah,
That was cool. It wasn't a full on DLC, more of like a separate like game mode within God of War. Um, which I thought was a really cool thing for them to do. And I don't know. Like, do DLC experiences hurt the release of the main game? Is kind of where I'm going. Like, say Elden Ring comes out and the story, the main story of the game is, you know, generally what, like a 9 to 10 hour experience or something like that, depending on how much like farming you do to level your character up. Like
yeah,
if they got real scummy, they could be like, okay, well, we're gonna only release like half the main story and then release DLCs along the way. And what Elden Ring was, say the next game they release Elden Ring and it's half the story, and then a year later they release DLC, there's the other half of the story, but it's the same amount of content as what the original base game like should have been. I don't know, but I'm really happy to see developers start making DLC for single player experiences.
My thing is, I just think single player things, just that kind of stuff. I don't think it necessarily hurts the main game. It's when you really break it down, is what does corporate want?
Right.
They don't care if it hurts the game. It's how cost effective is it?
It it's like when you break it down as like a business, obviously you want to put the least amount of work into something to have maximum profits. Prime example would be like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 3. The whole game should have been a DLC. You know, we meme about that, but the whole game should have just been a rework of the Modern Warfare 2 game that it came out. They add the new maps in. They put like a prologue to the Modern Warfare 2 campaign in, and that's what it was rumored to be anyway. And then they were like, "Nah, let's sell it for instead of selling it for like $30, you know, maybe 40, you know, because it released with what nine of the OG Modern Warfare 2 maps, um, and a campaign. Let's just put some filler bullshit in the campaign and charge people $70 for it. And if they're stupid enough, they'll buy the pre-order bundle for 100. And yeah, like that. I don't know. I
My
think
thing is, I would have been cool with like, obviously they wouldn't do it, but like it's broken down. There's the zombies category, multiplayer, and then campaign. I would have been cool if it's like, oh, I could pay $15 to have access to the multiplayer, pay 15 say for the zombies, but choose just not to have the campaign anyway and save $15.
yes, or that gets into a slippery slope though, because then you know, they're doing it a la carte. You know, say, oh, you just want the multiplayer experience. Well, that's only going to be $20. You want the zombies experience. That's going to be another 20. Oh, then they start gouging you. And then all of a sudden you're spending $100 on a game by the time it's all said and done. And you can't buy the bundle because they lock you out of that. Like they don't bundle it as one full package. Like I get where you're going, but
Hmm.
that's the other edge of the sword. Um, I don't know, man. If there was one game out there right now that you wish, like a single player game that had a DLC, like expansion to it, what would it be? Doesn't have to have been like released this year, obviously. It could have been released within the last, let's say, 5 years.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't think of any. Because the only single player game I play is Assassin's Creed.
Do they do DLCs and stuff?
Yeah, they usually have about, I'll say the newer ones have only had like one or two. Yeah, well, no. Odyssey had three, maybe four. I know Valhalla had almost six.
Yeah.
So I know nothing about Origins because I still, or whatever that is. Not Origins, Mirage. Still haven't played it.
I
That one
I
was supposed to be a DLC for Valhalla.
yeah, yeah, that's what that was. I haven't played Assassin's Creed, but like I will say that the one developer I wish would have done it was Respawn with both Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. There's a reason I mentioned those two. But I always thought Jedi Fallen Order should have had they should have just capitalized on the hype around that game because it was a really good game. People everywhere were like playing it. It was probably the and you got to remember in the climate that released in, it was an EA game after EA released Star Wars Battlefront 2, right? And Battlefront 2, rightfully so, was completely torn apart. Like people tore that game to shreds. Like I said, rightfully so. I mean, it was loaded up with loot boxes, but it was like the first good Star Wars story in game format that we had released, and it's I'd go to say that that story is probably one of the better Star Wars stories released since Disney purchased Lucasfilms in 2012. So I just really wish they would have done that. And then Jedi Survivor came out, and the game to this day is still very hard to run, even on like at least on PC sides of things. It's very hard to run on the most current hardware. I'm sure console got their kinks worked out, but um, I just wish they would have done something. Um, and just extended that story, because the story in both games is phenomenal. And the second game, it just expands upon everything from the first without leaving anything from the first game behind. But I mean, single player games used to release DLCs all the time. You know,
Yeah,
all the Assassin's Creed games. I don't know if all of them, but I know at least
every single one of them,
I don't did
except for the
the
first
first.
two.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first AC1 and AC2 didn't. I don't know about 3 actually either, but I didn't
What?
really care about 3.
Well, three, it did have a DLC. It was like a $10. It was more. It was an add-on, and it just added in like I think like another like hour-long quest
Mhm.
line.
The Fallout games released DLC. Now I'll grant it. Same thing goes with Skyrim, but granted, the Fallout 4's DLC not great. There were some cool things, but there were definitely some things that was like, man, I can't believe I just paid for this. New Vegas released DLCs, Batman Arkham games DLCs, and it's like a trend that I think the industry kind of moved away from, because not a lot of people bought them. Like I never played any of the Arkham series DLCs, but I'm sure they were great. Um, dude, one of the greatest DLCs of all time was I was gonna say Zombies Chronicles, but I think that's a given. I mean, it that Zombies Chronicles broke records for um most downloaded DLC of all time on the PlayStation Network. I don't know if it ever got beat, but one of the other one that I was gonna say greatest DLC in a single player game of all time, Undead Nightmare Red Dead Redemption.
God, that's a slept-on DLC. I
Dude,
can tell you
it
that.
is literally an entire expansion of Red Dead Redemption, where the entirety, like all of the characters get something. Obviously, it's like not canon, but like they just did cool stuff. They like zombified everything for that. I mean, zombies were everywhere around the time that that game launched. You had fucking Dead Island. You had um once again Batman Arkham. They did like just this side mode, like how long can you just last beating up all of these skeletons? Do you remember that game mode they had?
I do. Yeah.
And they were just like infinitely spawning. They, COD zombies. Yeah, I don't know if I said it. I'm pretty sure I did. Dead Island, but Undead Nightmares is a severely, I would say, slept on DLC, and it is probably one of the better of all time. What I'm saying is, I wish more developers that would make a single player game would do
Oh yeah.
it.
On a side note, real quick, just because we were talking about Fallout, do you see the trailer for the Fallout show?
Looks good.
It does
It
look
does look
really
good.
good.
I don't.
I have
It's
to give it that.
I'm I was skeptical, because anytime they do something where they try to retrofit like a video game franchise into TV show form or movie form, it never seems to work out. I heard really good things about the Last of Us TV show, but I haven't played the game yet, so I didn't watch it. I also heard some
It's
really bad things, but I don't really.
if you know the games well enough and you're watching it, you're like, it follows like think of this as the timeline. You know, it's a straight shot for the game and the show. But the show goes like it teeters up just the tiniest little bit, and now it's up here on this
So
line.
things don't exactly. always happens the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. Uh, Another good example of video game to movies specifically that didn't work was the old Resident Evil movies.
Well,
Uh,
well, uh,
oh, they're fucking awful.
well, no, you gotta think. I mean, all the
They
Resident Evil movies, and I mean, if you include everything, none of the stuff for Resident Evil is anything connected. Like the games, most of them aren't connected or have anything to do with the movies. Whereas the movies have, but like it's all
they're
Capcom.
they're fun to
Well,
watch. I'm not saying they're
yeah,
not. They're fun to watch. They're fun to meme on because they're actually really not good movies, but
when
they're
you break it down, it's the same thing. You start off, boom, here. She's just now waking up. Boom, shit's going downhill. Boom, she handles all the shit because she's a badass. Boom, she does something that causes the thing to mutate for the next movie.
yep,
Boom, this movie's over.
yep. I will say that they ended those movies pretty well.
Yeah.
I went through and rewatched them probably beginning of this year. Nah, no, it had to be before that. But just for shits and giggles, just went back and watched them. But yeah, they're they don't. There's definitely like Easter eggs to the games, obviously, but they don't. Other than like referencing that thing, like oh look, it's that thing from the game. They have the story has nothing to do with the games. But I don't know. I don't, Fallout. I think they did the best thing possible because they accepted that they're not going to be following like a Fallout narrative
Yeah.
and said this is going
It's
to
a
be its own
Fallout.
thing. It's not going to be canon. It's just going to be we're going to do this.
It's set in the world, but it's kind of their own story with examples. Now, I think personally, because yes, I am a Skyrim fan, I think they would have had a hell of a better time doing something with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Not hating, because the Fallout show looks good, but personally, people like the magical medieval type stuff. Like, I'm not going to say more, but probably say there's a bigger
Oh, it's
majority.
definitely more. If you look at
So
like the best Fallout game is Fallout New Vegas. I talk about it all the time. If you look at the subreddit for Fallout New Vegas versus the subreddit for fucking Skyrim,
it's
the number of members difference is like astronomical. Like
oh yeah.
we're talking millions more on Skyrim. I agree. I think a Skyrim live action show would have been sick.
Like you could have started out. My thing is, it's like you wouldn't even. You could do it two different ways. You could have it as the main character in the show. You think they're the main character until they meet up with the Dragonborn, and then that main character dies. Boom! There's the big plot twist. Now we're on the Dragonborn's quest to avenge his follower. Boom! I'm just saying. I don't know.
I I I think they would have to do see Sky like I said, Skyrim's trickier than Fallout because Fallout they could
Yep.
just tell a story of like this vault dweller just traveling off into the wasteland. There doesn't need to be huge stakes. They can just have fun with it and you know kind of make it up as they go along. Skyrim, I feel like it's a little bit more detailed. Uh you'd actually have to follow the game pretty closely and know and use the rules of the world to make everything mesh together and Fallout is just kind of like you can do whatever.
I want to see a death claw.
I do want to see a Deathclaw. I think we're safe to move into our next topic, which I have down here the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. Did you buy it?
No.
I didn't either, and I was like so hyped for this. I was so hyped, and then I got home from work and I was like really tired, so I just went to bed. And the next day, I just woke up to Twitter on fire, as it usually
Oh yeah,
is.
all the horrendous reviews, everything. Just
People, and I'll say that we'll get into it. This game, and I don't. I think a lot of it is more on like the community, right? This game was not at all any way, shape, or form marketed as a remaster. It was marketed as a re-release with some slight graphical tweaks and some quality of life stuff. That was it. And I think everybody took that as, oh, they're remastering it. They did not remaster this game. They upscaled the textures, they improved the lighting, and fixed some of the broken stuff that existed in the old game. Multiplayer on launch was just, I guess, busted. They had like 3 servers total for PC. I guess there's no crossplay. Don't hold me to that. Um, I guess there were also missing music and sound effects. Like some of the sound effects were kind of messed up, and like the sound that plays in Battlefront 2, where it comes up and says victory. I guess that is played, but like it's not at the same rate of speed. It's like elongated and it sounds funky. Um, from everything I've heard though, like the single player experience is pretty good. Um, and they said it does run smoother on newer consoles and PCs and stuff. Like you can get higher frame rates. It's not as choppy. Um, and they definitely made it better from what I've heard to run on like more modern PCs. So like every time you like if when I play games, I if I press Alt Tab, I can go to my other monitor to like do stuff. On older games, it'll just shut the game, and it's like a 50-50 shot on whether or not that game is actually going to come back up to where you stopped at. But I just think it's sad because I actually wanted to play it with like you and Dan.
that would have been something.
Taking it back because for those who don't know, Dante and I used to play this with our buddy Dan in my basement on an old CRT TV, and we had like a couch and a chair. Like it was actually just a love seat and like a folding chair, and we used to just play down in the basement. Be like 30 degrees outside, probably like 40 in my basement. We'd just be down there playing Battlefront. But yeah, it's sad. I I just wish it didn't. Like I said, I think a lot of like the expectations, like people expected so much more than what they were actually going to get, and I think it was that part of it was blown out of proportion. But the broken stuff, the lack of multiplayer servers and stuff like that, that's kind of unexcusable. Yep.
I recently saw somebody. There's a group of people that their project is they're trying to convert um, what is that? The Force Unleashed into Unreal Engine 5.
That would be cool.
That I mean, it would look great, but I wonder how finicky it would be because you could run that game on a toaster.
Yeah.
So
Well, you figure the original Force Unleashed came out for GameCube, PlayStation 2, Wii, Xbox 360,
yep,
and PlayStation 3. And it's
yeah,
weird because maybe it was the original Xbox. No, had to be 360.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
was the 360.
um, it's weird because the PlayStation 2 version is the version that is widely accepted by that community because it has like all the there. I guess there's a bunch of extra missions in it that aren't in the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation the not the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 and the Xbox version of it. Um I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think that game getting a true remaster would be good, but I don't think Disney will ever do it because there's just this hatred at Lucasfilms for Starkiller and that whole series. I don't
That's
understand it,
true.
but I mean I do understand it. He's a broken ass character. He can't be canon, but the game is fun, dude. The game is so fun.
But that's the whole reason why they won't do Bane in the role of two as anything. He's so broken that, like, you brought him into the universe that there's not they need the problem that I'm seeing with Starkiller is he was bad turned good. That's a really good story for what Disney's all about. Bane, he was to just straight just dogging on people.
Yeah.
And he's not necessarily, he was never really good or evil. But you can't make the story, okay, so now we have to add in a hero who can go and beat him, except you can't beat the motherfucker.
Yeah. It, literally the whole story of him is that he ended up getting betrayed by his Padawan. That was the only way he was gonna get not his Padawan, his apprentice or whatever. This is the only way that they could have beat him.
And even
Be-
then, they still didn't beat him.
Yeah.
They well, okay, it was never confirmed because in the last book, that he's fighting the rule of two, all that kind of jazz. It was never confirmed who took over who at the end. We
And
have no idea.
he was the one who found like through pure hatred to live for like hundreds of years, right?
Yeah, combined with a type of infection that spread all over his body that made it to where sabers couldn't cut through it.
Nice.
So he's now saber proof, blaster proof. You could try and use the force on him, but we've seen Anakin and Obi-Wan do that and see what happens. So I'm just saying it's going to be a little bit worse because he's going to dog on you.
Yeah, he's all the legends characters. Whenever
Yeah.
you start looking at like how Anakin's the chosen one and he's supposed to be the most powerful force wielder to have ever existed, that honestly that whole idea is what screws up so much of the cool legends stuff. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't, but I don't know. Should Disney and EA have just developed with this happening? Should they have just developed a new Battlefront game to like satisfy the players and try to make it as like 1-to-1 as like Battlefront 2. Make it 1-to-1 but like just straight up remaster it and be done. Call it
Uh,
I don't know, something.
I think if they would have, I'd say just redo it 1-to-1. Make sure that co-op aspect's still there. Make sure the original just foundations are still there. No extra. I mean, you could put extra stuff in there if it adds to the length of the game or quality of the game. But uh, I don't know. I also think a lot of developers need to start focusing back to the one of the main topics. Need to start focusing back on single player.
Yeah. 2023 was definitely more of a year for like single player games. Obviously, you had well, God of War was what, tail end of 2022, but
Hmm.
still we'll count it. But you had God
Yeah.
of War, Alan Wake, you had Spider Man, you had uh Jedi Survivor, you had just Hogwarts Legacy. You had so many good single player games, and Hogwarts Legacy, another one. There's no DLC being released for it. Like, dude, I don't
Well, that one, I think the reason that one doesn't have any DLC because all the
know. Yes,
contradictory communities are surrounding that topic.
well, that's something we can get into. I don't think that I think that you can enjoy something and not like the person that created it. And I think something can become more than its creator.
Yeah.
So, if we're so accepting, if we're so willing to accept other people's views and everything, why can't we just have a good time and play video games? Why do we have to tie that back to a person who might not be the greatest person in the world?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's another thing going on with another game right now, and surprising. Dead by Daylight. Apparently, it's under scrutiny now because of the newest killer they released.
Who did they release?
It's called the Unknown. That is creepy ass motherfucker. I swear to God, I don't want to play against him. But he's imagine, God, think of him like a mixture of the creature from The Thing.
Okay.
Um, I can't remember what the other one else was. Like a Wendigo in The Thing. Think of it like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Well, he's unknown. Like you don't know. We'll even break it down. You don't know gender. You don't know anything like that. It's just the name of the creature is the Unknown. Well, I guess the voice actor for it is trying to cause repercussions against them because it's like a, I don't know how the safe word to say it uh without being rude, because the only thing my mind is coming to is being rude. uh Man, I'm gonna mess it up. It's a female transitioning to male. There we go.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
And he didn't know what the creature would look like, and then when they released it, and then some of its variants, it's all based off of the variant skins they released, not the main skin. The main skin just looks like a mangled version of Dwight,
Okay.
but really gross. But the other skins have it's a male voice, but they're dressed like female cheerleaders, but it looks like it hung itself, like the way its neck is. So they're basing that decision off of, oh, because it's a female figure with a male voice and it looks like it hung itself. I didn't sign up for my voice lines to be like that. I mean, you'd think that's something you'd ask, like, hey, while I'm here, can I like see what it looks like? I'm already signed over that I can't say anything
It's
about it
a
until it
horror
releases.
game.
It's a horror game.
I feel
Yeah.
like people might be reading into that one a little bit much. Like it's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be, you know, who cares? Like you're into I don't know.
Like they didn't name it anything. I could understand it in a way if they actually named the unknown something. But it's literally called the unknown.
Yeah,
Ain't
it's
nobody
supposed
know
to
what
be
the fuck it
anything.
is.
It's supposed to be anything or everything. And
Yeah.
who like dude, I don't know. It's a weird world we're living in where no matter what you say, you're gonna piss 50% of people off, and the other
Like
50% are gonna be pissed
let's
off when
just
you go
play as the
back
new
on
killer.
it.
Let's just play as the new killer. Let's have
Yeah,
fun in the fucking game. Like
yeah, exactly. It's a video game. I don't think it needs to be that serious. It can like I it, if it's that big of a deal, write the person a check for or sue that person or whatever, tie them up in litigation so that that you can get your money back from them, and hire another person to VA for it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what. Let's get back to the topics.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 3 Season 2. We didn't talk about this at all, but this is more of the fact that they did a Walking Dead event at the beginning of season 2 without any actual zombies content. I feel like we might have talked about this a little bit, but I don't think we did. Um they had, for the launch of season 2, no zombies content other than nerfing and buffing some guns.
Yep.
Um Now we just the other day had I think middle of last week had the season 2.5, season 2 reloaded, whatever.
Yeah.
Um and we got some zombies content. We got new schematics, which are the blood burner key, which would allow you to spawn a blood burner, motorcycle, VR11 schematic, so you can actually spawn in with a VR11 wonder weapon, which
Which I don't know why anybody would.
I have yet to even hold the VR11. I have one in my inventory, but I haven't used it because there's no reason to play. And Mags of Holding, which is a gobble gum turned into I guess a magazine attachment. I don't know what happens when you pop it, but there was a gobble gum called stock option from Black
Hmm.
Ops 3 that allowed your bullets from your weapon to deplete from your reserve rather than your magazine.
Yeah, you know what it does is when you attack, it's not like in a thing. It's like the golden plates. You
Yeah,
bring it
yeah.
in, and once you pop it, it does the same thing. It pulls from your stock, so you don't have to reload.
Uh, Other than that, no new schematics. No, we got a new Dark Ether Rift. Um, Hold on. One of the other things that they released, I guess, was a new Dark Ether Rift, and apparently it's a part of the Al Mazrah map. It's like the section over by like the carnival or something, and it's the same thing as the old Dark Ether Rift. There's 3 contracts to do in there. You do the contracts, you get all the new schematics. I don't know if that eliminates the old Dark Ether Rift or not. Um
It doesn't.
okay. But you need elder sigils, and you need sigils to go into there, and sigils you can get the consumable versions of these new schematics, and elder sigils is where you how you can get the actual schematic itself. Um
They added in a new fortress.
yes, they added in another fortress. I don't know if did they get rid of Dokkaebi or whatever the hell her name was?
Yep, it's gone.
Good. So we can actually use that building to further parachute through that section, because there's no redeploys in that section of downtown, and there's no um very seldom do you find any rifts to jump through to get around the map. Um they added the exfil streaks, which is cool. You know more about those. It's pretty much just gives you like buffs going in, so you spawn in with more money. Um cheaper perks, stuff like that.
Which I don't know why you need. Like, I get it if you're doing multiple runs, but like, why currently would you have to do multiple runs? You
There's
can make all
no
your stuff, bring it in, and then you're done. What else is there to do?
there's no new
Bring in
boss
a new
fight.
guy, level it up, you're done.
They did release new story missions, so that is one thing that you can do, but I don't know how in depth those story missions are. I haven't looked at them yet. And this is some old news, but I guess there was a development phone call or whatever, and some popular streamers and YouTubers got to kind of talk with them, and someone, I believe Chopper, is the guy that asked the questions about new perks, new wonder weapons, or enemy types coming to the game, and they said there's nothing planned for that. So currently, the only thing that we can do is we can grind out the new story missions, which God knows how long those will take. Probably not long. We can go to the new Dark Ether Rift to grind out the schematics, and there's no new boss fight. There's no new enemy types. You can go do all this stuff to get your schematics unlocked, but there's nothing to use those schematics on.
Yep.
Hmm.
Hell, I'm still in Act 3. There's just there's no want for me to continue to do it when I don't know. Like I got the
Well,
Wonderwall schematic, and that's really all I wanted. So
I think you see me too, right? So I'm someone who invested all of that time. I'm someone who grinded or grinded. I ground out. I was grinding the game to get all the schematics, and then I get everything, and it's like at that moment I realized, okay, I only had fun in this because of the grind. You know that desire to unlock all this stuff. And then I realized that because there's no rounds, there's no constant updates, there's nothing really for me to achieve other than completing story missions and unlocking schematics. There's no point in me even playing. So I'll probably unlock all the schematics, but I'm not going to take the schematics back in to do the Dark Ether Rift when the whole point of the Dark Ether Rift is to unlock the schematics. You know? That the challenge of just going in there isn't fun. It's hard. It's hard, and I like feeling rewarded for completing that. And there's no reward for continuously completing that. And once I have the schematics, I can just spawn in with the stuff. So it's not like I need to go back in to get the consumables. There's no new like red worm boss fight. It's just the red worm. There's no like Easter egg to solve really. It's just use elder sigils at this other portal. And I don't know, while I'm here, I'll just look up Act. What would it be? Act 5
yeah,
missions.
I'd imagine so. I don't know because when I load up on there, of course maybe it's because I don't have 3 and 4 done, but there's nothing else there. It still just says Act 1 through 4.
Does it? So they didn't
Yeah,
even release any new story missions.
yeah. I have yet to see anything or anyone talk about them.
I didn't look last night when we played. We played solely multiplayer. So yeah, they I thought I'd mention it because I heard somewhere in the pipeline that we were going to get an Act 5 story mission set, and I just looked it up. There's nothing. So yeah, Modern Warfare 3, at least for zombies stuff, was not cool. Even as far as multiplayer, I mean, they added in some more of the maps that were in MW2, but were like they put Dome in, which was from the original Modern Warfare 3, but got remastered and put in MW2 because Activision and Infinity Ward did not account apparently. Um, yeah. Any
And we got a
final
sword.
thoughts on Modern Warfare 3 right now?
Yeah, we got a sword that is
Oh
actually good
yeah,
against
right.
some less than savory people. We are those people, but
Yeah,
still.
I'm also the people. We are also the people running the riot shield, but we still reserve that right to complain about them whenever we come across them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've been wanting to play more Warzone recently. Actually, I don't know why, but I've just been feeling like playing Warzone. I'm sure that'll last for 3 games, and then I'll be pissed off.
Nah.
All right, dude. Let's last topic that I have. Um, Written down here was Helldivers. I love it. It is fun. It is fun to play.
I love it too. Have never played it.
I know they need to just open the floodgate and let the Xbox boys on. Um,
Yeah, I would like to spread some democracy, even though we're the bad guys in the
that is
game.
the attitude and the satire and that whole um like over the top patriotic vibe is the best part of the game.
Oh yeah.
Second best is the fact that the guy that composed for Call of Duty World War II, like the theme for that song, like that goes dun dun dun, but it's like symphony music. It,
Hmm.
Same guy that does the theme for Helldivers and the soundtrack for Helldivers and all like the dynamic music that's in there. I can't remember his name here. Wilbert Roget the second. Shout out that guy. He's an
I
incredible
just like how
composer.
the whole Helldivers 2 community just ignores the fact that we might not be the good guys in this
No,
scenario.
that's fucking that's treason.
Exactly.
That's treason. I love it, dude. I love it. It is the one thing I will say. Now I haven't played since they released their new season pass or anything like that, so I don't want to speak on any of that. I heard something about possibly pay to win. You're gonna have that when you monetize a live service game. Um, they need to do the opposite of what Treyarch and Activision did with Modern Warfare 3 Zombies. They need to commit. They need to have a roadmap. They need to continuously just release banger after banger piece of content, you know, and they need when you play with like a squad, only the squad leader can pick like where you're going and they need to find some type of missions or like add some type of story into this game because right now just the way it is good, but that would send it over the top and just straight into the net, straight buckets.
I
um
could see it like Mass Effect, what is that, 3? Or no, what is it? Yeah, Mass Effect 3, where you're playing it, and this kind of comes into the whole are we the good guys, bad guys thing. Because in Mass Effect 3, you had a choice of basically um, unaliving on a mass scale
uh
certain species or choosing to let that species go. Now you have two different types. You know, you have the alien bugs, and then you have the automatons. You know, you could send out some there's choices that you could make in like a more story-driven narrative of it that could allow you. Okay, you know, you could permanently wipe out this or this, but what effect would that have in the long run?
yeah, I think I don't know if they'd be able to do it to that level with it being like a live service. Like all of the data in that game is extrapolated in real time. Like I think we're gonna get more factions.
Definitely.
I think we're gonna get obviously different enemy types from the bugs or the automatons, which we've only went up against the automatons once because we got our asses handed to us, like
I
served up four
personally,
course meal.
I think they're going to add in. I don't want to necessarily say like a trader branch,
Yeah,
but like kind of like a spy piracy type deal where there's an insurrection working against.
It's gonna be the people that found out that Super Earth aren't the good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know that's treason and all to even think that, but no, I think that they have something really cool on their hands, and I think they instead of just working on your cosmetics and working on the new guns, you need to double down and add that extra layer in there, you know? Add that layer of storytelling, add that layer of, cuz the way I see it, it is the thing, it's almost there, of like a good co-op extraction story type deal that could have been like a Fallout 76 or even Modern Warfare Zombies, like the making, but now it's just like make me care about the story because it's interesting enough. You got me hooked. You got the good gameplay. You got good mechanics. It's just get the hook set. Now you just reel me in. You know what I mean? My question to you. This is the last thing I want to say about Helldivers. Do you think it's going to be the next big thing that all the AAA game developers are going to try to rip off?
No,
Really?
I think there might. My thing is there might be one that tries.
343.
Can't say for certain, but there's definitely going to be one that's going to try, but it's not going to be nearly as successful. But I feel like the game is so. I'm going to say it is so unique that I personally feel like it would be kind of not worthwhile for another company to go and replicate it.
I think that the whole because it's almost like a combination of like zombies and an extraction thing. That's why I kind of make the reference to Modern Warfare 3 zombies. It's on a time limit. The thing with the zombies is that, you're grinding for those schematics. You're grinding for everything. Where this game it's like you just get your I can't remember what they're called, but all your Dance Revolution, Arrow Key, those things, the
Oh yeah, the stratagems.
stratagems. And you unlock those as you play. Yeah, you grind that out, but you can use them infinitely. You can use them. You only get one of this certain one per match, but you can just bring another one back in. And I think, and you're already seeing comparisons from like Helldivers to like the ODSTs from Halo and that type of shit.
Well, that's
And
what they originally wanted the game to be like.
yeah,
The ODST back in the old days, they wanted it to be exactly like what Helldivers is. But back then, some higher ups didn't like the idea, so they passed on it.
yeah, man. I think if there's one developer out there that would try it, it would be 343 and Xbox to try to do something similar with Halo. I personally think that they discovered something really good here, and they just not like I said, they just need to reel me in now with some story. But whether or not other developers try to rip it off, I don't know. I think it's too early to say. Mike Tyson and Logan Paul. Bonus topic here. Dante mentioned it. I just kind of want to talk about it. No, it's Jake Paul, right?
Yeah,
One of the
yeah, Jake.
Paul brothers. I can't
Yeah,
tell
it's
because
Jake.
I dislike them equally.
It's not the one that saw the guy hanging himself.
It's not the one that ripped off a bunch of people using a crypto scam, promised to make it right, and then never did. It's
Yep.
not that one. It's the other one.
Yeah. Personally, my thing is that both of them are saying, nothing's scripted. But then Jake comes in saying, well, here's all these rules you have to follow so I don't die when we're fighting. It's pretty much to the point where, like, Mike just has to, like, stand there and he can maybe throw a punch every 10 minutes.
Dude,
Like, this ain't boxing. And then Mike released a statement saying, no, there's no scripted, there's no money. Whatever money I get is from me winning this fight. I'm not here to play around. Like I'm here to kill them. That's another animal that the world hasn't seen for a while. I don't like pulling them out. I'm scared.
I dude, I don't know. I want to see Mike Tyson just destroy him.
Oh yeah.
More more than just me not liking Jake Paul. Like that's not the reason why. I just want to see Mike Tyson just do it. I want to see Mike just out there, when he
His
bit him.
he, his young Kratos is gonna come out. I know it.
And I watched some footage of him sparring, even just hitting pads, dude, for a fucking what 50 some
67.
67. I was thinking 50 for
He's
a
67 years old.
67-year-old man. Dude is fucking moving. He's just
The
oh
rust is coming off. That's what it is. He's in his natural
like
habitat.
in part of me. The other part of me is like, dude, okay, they're gonna do what they did with the Mayweather thing with
Hmm.
Logan, and Logan's gonna win the fight. And uh, to me, they're making an event. Wait, he's 58.
Is he
He's
58?
58. I'm looking at it right now. I'm sorry. Either way, he's almost 60. Retirement age is 65. He's 58. He's just chilling. But I just want to see him do it, dude. I just want to see him get back in that ring. I want to see him moving. I want to see him bobbing and weaving. I want to see him taking the body shots, moving the fucking head, coming up top, going back low, and just playing with his food. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, they're making an event. They're making a show. They're obviously they're putting on a fight. They're putting on a fight, and you don't make the money in the fight by winning the fight. You make the money in the fight by selling, putting asses in seats and selling pay-per-views. What better way to sell a pay-per-view than to sell one of Mike Tyson fighting a young guy, and not only that, but in a reasonably unlikable guy. I I'm excited for it. I'll be here for it. I might actually buy it because Mike's fighting.
My thing is, the thing that worries me the most is that if they do, in a way, end up scripting it even a little bit, because at the end of the day, it is just entertainment.
Mhm.
What is going to happen? Like, we'll bring up social media. Well, even TikTok alone. Down the road, people are not going to be making videos and highlight reels of Jake Paul as this great boxer of all time fighting nothing but old men.
Yeah, for real. I mean,
Like, put him up against some active people in there
yeah,
right now,
put
and he's dying.
someone their age. I mean, I'm not gonna say they haven't trained and they haven't put some work in,
Yeah, I'm
but
sure they're not bad at it, but I'm not like, come on. All you've been doing is fighting 55-plus-year-old men that have been retired from the sport, you know, not like full retired, but not to the extent they were at for years. Go up
I
against somebody like Nate Diaz or something.
yeah. And
That
well,
then tell me.
who else? What was it? Was it Logan Paul that fought McGregor? No, no,
Did
that
he?
was
Yes.
McGregor. No, Jake Paul wanted to fight McGregor, and
Oh my God, he died.
McGregor was like, "Let's get in the octagon," and they were like, "Nah, we're gonna pass. We're gonna pass on that." It's like, what?
Well,
You don't want to do
McGregor's
it in the
the type of
octagon?
dude. He's crazy enough. There is no scripting. His entertainment is beating the piss out of him and then walking away with the victory. That's it.
Well, McGregor, I expected a little bit different of an outcome when McGregor fought Mayweather, right? But it's not exactly an apples to apples. Mayweather made his money because of his endurance, not because of his power, not because of his punches. Made his money because of his endurance, and he could go 12 rounds. and McGregor was gassed after 3, and he resorted to throwing elbows and shit, which isn't legal in boxing. I think you wanna level the playing field. You need to restrict some of the mixed martial arts that, these MMA guys can fight with, but also say, hey, this is what you can do that you can't do in boxing. So, Mayweather has to learn some mixed martial arts, and McGregor needs to learn some, restraint when it comes to boxing. So it's more of a level playing field. I want to say that fight really wasn't a level playing field because they're two different types of athletes from two different types of sports.
Yeah.
But this right here is Jake Paul, a boxer, going to fight the greatest boxer of all time. Well, maybe for Muhammad Ali, but I don't know. I'd say Mike's. If Mike doesn't at least beat the snot out of this guy, I'd like to say that Mike would just ignore whatever rules that they put down, and he'd just maybe do a you know what I'm talking about. Do a little,
Hmm.
straighten out a little line of Cocoa Puff and just go to town.
Yeah, he would. If that happens, we're definitely seeing another ear situation.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I have time for today. We're 42 minutes into the second recording because I screwed up the first one. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Feel free to leave a like, comment, tell us what you want to hear us talk about next. Check out the Spotify people. Check out YouTube. We're fun over here. But yeah, this has been Game Flicks and Chill.